as a Ravens fan, the rivalries with the Steelers, and so I'm not going to get angry at someone if they wear a Steelers jersey. You might joke around with them or something. My brother-in-law is a big Steelers fan, so you go back and forth as a joke, but I'm not actually getting mad at someone. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine getting actually angry because somebody is wearing the colors of another team that is not my favorite
rival
team.
gang.
It's just.
It is. It's very much like that, apparently.
I hesitate to call it childish only because that's sort of an understatement. The behavior we saw in that video was worse than childish, but it is also really childish, and you need to grow the hell up. It's okay to watch football as a grown man. I certainly watch it, but it is just asinine to make it a central aspect of your identity. Not to mention, of course, speaking this way to anyone, but especially a woman, is repugnant. However, point two.
Especially a woman?
BakerTargets.com is where I get the targets you see me shoot all the time on Active Self-Protection Extra. They ship fast, their prices are great, and they have all kinds of targets, both for competitive shooting, defensive shooting, and fun too. Check them out. Oh, my wife wants to stop and talk about that.
Why especially women?
Well, I think there's, certainly, the way that I was raised, Grandpa Hodges would have gotten after me if I used foul language around women.
Right,
and
but why?
Because that's just not how it's not respectful to women. That's not how you talk around a lady. And so, look, my wife doesn't like this. This is, she's quite you're an odd brand of feminist.
Yes, I think respect should not depend on your gender. I think you should respect people, and if somebody is offended by something, then you should maybe try not to do that around them. For the record, I would argue that in 2025, my wife has probably 80% as foul a mouth as I do. I'd say like 65%.
I'd say 75 easy. Are we negotiating?
We're negotiating now, but yeah.
And so I was raised that way, though, that you just don't say those things around.
And I was raised you don't swear at all. Like I was really
dang was too much in your house.
Well, no, you couldn't say butt. You had to say bottom.
Man. Yeah. That's a big deal. So we don't say those things to people, let alone around women. It's culturally dependent a little bit, Matt. In that really kind of right-wing, traditional, and kind of white-collar world. Okay, fine. I worked in construction a lot, and I was in the military. Bad language was no big deal, and in fact was just part of a way of life. And so I always tell folks, say like, gosh, John, you curse like a sailor. No, I was a sailor. You curse like me, I'm a role model. So there's that. And I know some people get frustrated on the channel. Every once in a while, I'll say one on the channel, and people are like, the pearls get clutched. Yeah. And that's true, but if you know me in real life, you know that my first big boy job was, I was a sailor. Yeah. Before that, I was in construction. Do the math.
The supposed victims in this altercation are not actually totally innocent. For one thing, and it always surprises me. It shouldn't surprise me, but it actually doesn't surprise me. But it frustrates me that this happens time and time again, and hardly anyone ever brings this up. We don't know what happened prior to the video being taken. Okay, there's a reason.
A fair point. We don't know what happened prior to the video.
Why? Yeah. Why was he filming?
Well, because the guy was getting upset, probably. So my guess would be there was some banter back and forth, so he decided, I'm going to take some video of this guy. Okay. But we don't know what they said beforehand. Sure. That's true. And so they could have been the instigators.
Right.
It's possible.
Reason why the guy pulled out the video when he pulled it out. We have no idea what transpired ahead of this. Okay, so for all we know, that woman was cussing the guy out a few minutes ago, a few minutes before the video was taken. For all we know, not only could that be the case, but it's kind of likely that it's the case. I'm not saying that it happened. I have no clue. That's my point. I don't know, but it could have, right? And if it did, or if there was any deliberate antagonizing going on, then suddenly the Packers fans are much less sympathetic. It still would not justify the behavior of the Eagles fan. But let's just, hypothetically, if 5 minutes before that, the woman had turned to that Eagles fan and cussed him out and called him stupid, a stupid, dumb hick or something, Is she still a sympathetic figure in this? Of course not. Again, wouldn't justify what the guy said. I would never talk that way to a woman. But just the fact that no one's even curious about that, no one's even curious what happened before this, and no one ever is. Anytime there's a viral video, it picks up. These viral videos always pick up in the middle of some kind of altercation. There's a reason why. That guy who was taking the video, he was not, I assume, taking that video the entire game.
I will stop real quick and just say, he said, I'd never talk that way to a woman. Again, I'd broaden that. I don't talk that way to other people.
Right.
That's not how I talk to people. Using language to attack and to belittle is not good, sane, sober, moral, or prudent. So I say all the time, I have a potty mouth. Okay, I do, in the real world. You got to understand me here. So, and I've said this on the channel, on the big channel, so I'll say it here as well. So earmuff me for a second if bad language is really a bad deal to you. There's a difference between using bad language around people and what I call motherfucking people. And again, when I use language at people to attack, and to belittle and to denigrate, that is, for me as a faith commitment, not acceptable, right? So attacking the image of God in people via language is a violation of the character of Jesus.
And you don't have to use swear words, whatever your cultural swear words are, to do that.
Right. I mean, honestly, the smallest part of this, you call somebody a cotton-headed ninny muggins, and that's, again, attacking their person. Look, this is who you are. Whereas I can say, there's a difference between you're an idiot and that statement out of your mouth is idiotic. Right? Now I'm talking about a statement, not versus you as a person. And so, or that behavior is unacceptable versus you are unacceptable.
Right.
So I don't mind foul language, but, and I don't want to get into a big theological discussion. If hold on to your hats. If you go to the public figure page, John Correa, facebook.com/theASP guy, the pinned video at the top is me talking about did Jesus ever cuss? Hold on to your hats.
I hear people.
The jimmies are rustling in the background.
Yes, I do. And the pearls are making
The
loud
pearls are
sounds.
clutching.
Yes.
But I just wouldn't say that to people in general, right?
And I think what people are going to say, I'm preemptively thinking about comments, that it's different for a man to talk to a woman in a certain way versus talking to another man in a certain way. And I will give that culturally and societally, yes, there is a difference. I don't have enough information to go into if that's right or not.
But if I called another man that I didn't know well, those kinds of words, it's just as offensive.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, listen, my best friends, I would say my two best friends on earth both work for ASP. It's Neil and it's Mike, right? And the language we use at each other would be wholly offensive to a random man on the street. It would be radically offensive.
Sure.
And so it doesn't matter your gender. It's that I respect you as a person, and I don't, again, when I know my two best friends, right? So we have such relationship built, such trust built, then we use language at each other that clearly can't undermine the trust that we built. But when we don't have any trust built, then that language cuts to the heart of a person.
Now, you said your two best friends, but these are your two best guy friends, because you have a female best friend as well. Stephanie.
Yeah.
And you would probably say just as much stuff to her.
Yes, but I would be a little more careful with Stephanie because, again, okay, I'll be straight. Like Mike, I go, hey Mike, I got 4 fat friends and you're 5 of them, and we're boys, right? And that's part of our fun and our joking. I would never say that to Stephanie because it just wouldn't be appropriate, right? So there's differences of appropriateness.
Okay, yeah, no, I get.
And I guess I have to admit that.
Yeah,
there's differences of appropriateness.
Part of that is how you already know how that person's going to internalize that. And I think, I think for a friend
relationship,
it maybe didn't come
and
down
I think
to gender.
That's it. I know how she would appropriate that. I know that would harm her soul for me to say that to her. That's not about her gender. That's about me knowing her person.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a good point there too. All right.